What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Beyond Ordinary podcast, where we connect with great people doing great things to inspire you to do the same. I got another banger episode today. We're going to talk about trauma, spirituality, healing, all that good stuff. A lot of stuff that people don't want to talk about, you know what I'm saying? Like some of the touchy topics. But, it's very important that we touch on these topics, especially as people who are business owners trying to touch the top. And I got a wonderful woman here with me today, Alisa.
Hi, thank you so
Like,
much for having me. It's an honor.
no problem, no problem. You want to start with who you are and what you do?
All right, so yes, my name is Alisa. I'm a clinical therapist, a licensed clinician. I work in a group practice at this time, and I have a private practice too, but primarily it's the group practice. I work with people with trauma, that's my specialty, PTSD, anxiety, depression, dual diagnosis with substances as well. I've served as a therapist in a treatment as well. So I worked with population with addiction and dual diagnosis with mental health as well. So, but currently my specialty and something that I'm very passionate about is working with people with trauma, whether it's PTSD, maybe first responders, veterans, things like that. So this is something that is my kind of practice at this time.
Mm-hmm. And what made you want to get into this line of work?
It's a long story. I guess it's a personal experience intertwined with, again, me wanting to help humanity and service of, working with people who maybe experience similar to some experiences to my story as well. I've been an immigrant. I moved here when I was just 18 years old, and it was a very rough transition without a family, not having papers. It was a long kind of process. So that created a lot of kind of, I would say, traumatic experiences for me. And then going through life as well, I've encountered a lot of incidents or transitions in life as well, relationships, domestic violence, things like that, that actually led me to question, or rather taking care of myself in a different way that I've done before, and learning about trauma, learning about myself, and understanding first that I actually struggle with that, right? Because I feel like we come to a realization of a trauma in some time. It doesn't just appear in our realization or awareness. It has to be questioned, right? Why things are going this way? What is going on with me? Why I'm not feeling how maybe other people can be feeling at this time? And all of those questions led me to trying therapy, which didn't work. And I decided to go and try to fix myself through education and get into the field. And so that led me to exploring a lot of different avenues of serving, again, in the mental health
I don't
community.
want to cut
So,
you off from your story, but you touched on something I want to
mhm.
highlight is that you said that therapy didn't work. And I feel like that's something that's common that a lot of people say that, oh, therapy didn't work. So how, like, can you kind of go more into that of why therapy didn't work for you?
Yes, absolutely. Well, number one, I feel like when we're going to find a therapist, let's say I'm getting the first therapist I can find, right? And I'm like, you know what? I kind of resonate with what they say and what they specialize in. Let me go and try it out. So when I went and I think we did a few sessions with that lady, and whatever she was giving me as far as homework or trying to give me some form of guidance, it was not what I could align at all. That was not something that I could relate to. And I was like, okay, she doesn't understand me at all. Like, there is not a single thing that she did or said to me that I will say, oh, you know what, that's an insight. So my mistake though was that I kind of generalized that idea of this therapist, and I thought that all of the therapists are the same. But if we think about our lives, if, let's say if you go to get a, you know, groomed, right? To get a beard cut or to get a haircut or to get your nails done, whatever you do for yourself, it's not just every single person would be a perfect fit for you. You have to go through a series of experiences to then say, you know what, this is the person for me for sure. I'm not changing my master. This is who I'm going to be working with. The same comes to therapist. Just like we're choosing our hairdresser, we have to be able to find a therapist that will resonate with us. And that, unfortunately, maybe it's going to take some time because, again, everybody's different. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. A lot of other people will probably benefit from some other approaches as well. We're all so different. So finding the person that works for you may take time, and you have to keep an open mind and not try to generalize everybody under, that one person that you've tried.
And then how should people go about finding a therapist that's right for them, especially as somebody who's new
Mm.
to going and getting therapy?
Right. I think first it's important to understand what values do you have and what kind of support would you like to receive? And then maybe doing your own research on what modalities work for a specific problem. Let's say if I do have trauma or if I do have depression or have anxiety, first learning about that. If you have time, I think it's good to educate yourself on what do you feel like you're experiencing, and then trying to find maybe or going through different people and seeing their resumes, seeing their biography, what they specialize in, and see, okay, let me give this a shot. I always encourage people to do a quick consultation before jumping on board so that you can at least hear the therapist and you can connect with them and see if this is a good fit. It has to be a good fit for a clinician as well. So I feel like it's mutual, has to be mutual reciprocity, if you will, and respect. And after that consultation, again, it may take time for you to really get to know the person on both sides and then say, okay, you know what, we can do some good work here.
What drew you to create your coaching practice, and how does it differ from your work as a therapist?
Ooh, coaching practice, I think it's more of like straightforward and targeting certain things, I would say more challenges related to life and lifestyle choices, and pursuing maybe getting more clarity in collaboration regarding, let's say, starting a business or maybe just changing lifestyle as well, which therapy can afford. I do like therapy for myself. I feel like therapy is a kind of more deeper practice where you really go and you begin to dissect layers and layers of experiences that we may have, because ultimately we have so many layers to us where we have so many dimensions, and coaching is not going to go that deep. It can help you kind of navigate maybe within a shorter kind of time span. It helps you navigate how can you make those changes, but with therapy you're actually going deeper into yourself, I feel like. So to me that would be the difference.
What are some common signs that someone might be struggling with unprocessed trauma, even if they're unaware of it?
There are a lot of different symptoms, I would say, or different kind of things you can notice within yourself. Again, I may have a cumulative effect. You maybe have to go through a little bit of time to really see how your life is unfolding. Usually seen for, if you're looking for something that will be a repeated pattern, let's say if you're meeting people that cause you harm, right? And we tend to sometimes stay with those experiences, with those people, with those relationships. Maybe it's some pattern of your own behavior. Maybe you're getting trapped. Maybe it's persistent feeling of hopelessness, powerlessness. Maybe you have flashbacks from the past, right? Oftentimes we tend to ignore a lot of things that happen to us because those people who will go through life not noticing trauma, they're probably highly functioning adults. And when we're highly functioning, what do we say to ourselves? Oh, this is nothing, right? This is nothing. I don't want to think about it. Big girls don't cry, men don't cry. We have all of the stigma that surrounds us as humans altogether. So a lot of things being suppressed. And when we suppress something, if we bury our feelings, we bury them alive. They're not going anywhere. And trauma has a very sneaky way of affecting our life without us realizing that, just because we have this kind of system. They call it the top brain and the bottom brain. The top brain, if we think about this, the prefrontal cortex, that's the place where we make decisions, where we are aware of situations, that's where we process information. But over here, all of down there, going from our amygdala, which is responsible for anxiety, fight or flight response, which can be hyperactive after a lot of traumatic experiences. And that can also cause us to be always hypervigilant, always be on the edge. If we find ourselves, let's say, if I am constantly being on the edge and reactive and irritated easily and things like that, or maybe I'm fatigued easily, maybe I don't have a lot of energy, those can be all of the representation of some sort of a problem. It doesn't have to be trauma, but it may be trauma because we don't really think about certain experiences being traumatic. But it may not even be as important as, okay, I was never, let's say, physically abused or things like that. That bottom brain that we're talking about underneath here, it fires and wires neurons as we go through experiences. And those memories that are here, they're nonverbal, meaning we can't even explain them. And if I think about them with this brain, I'll be like, well, this is nothing. Why am I so reactive? But we're not moving through life with that brain. We're moving through life with something that's down there, that's creating those sensations and feelings and even underlying belief about ourselves that is so disturbing, but our brain cannot process that all at the same time, because again, it takes time to process some really kind of scary experiences or drastic experiences. That has to be doesn't have to be traumatic. You don't have to witness a death to experience this negative filter through which we can look at life afterwards, and this is going to be affecting everything that I do. And it can make life harder, it can make us more emotional. So there's a lot of sides at which we have to look in order to understand, okay, is there a problem or not? And the first step is to becoming aware in which way something can be influencing my every move and every step.
For sure, that self-awareness is very key, and I think that a lot of people are just are not self-aware, and they kind of just go through the motions, and it takes like that big moment or whatever for them to like really realize that, oh, I need some help.
Yeah,
I've
so
definitely
true.
been there, definitely been there. And then how can business owners navigate the challenges of healing from trauma while managing the demands of their business?
Well, I think it's going to be a deeply personable and personal approach. If they, again, however people want to go about it. I know, actually, in fact, I know some people who say, I'm not sure if I want to dig all of that up, for myself. Like, I'm functioning now. This is who I am now. You can teach old dog new tricks, so to say. I've heard that a lot from people. And it all depends on, and if we look at those scenarios as well, sometimes we can see that people may have some difficulties with severe anxiety attacks, but they can be using something to mitigate that, right? Or they have certain experiences that trigger them from their partnership or within their business as well. So whether you want to dig it up or not is going to be affecting you in one way or another. So I feel like first realizing that I do need help while navigating my life and the demands of that business or whatever people are working on, you have to understand how much stress and kind of effect that trauma causes, and then see, okay, you know what, if I want to get better and I want to have a better business, I need to be more available for that. I need to be more stable, and I need to be more kind of calm, I would say, and at peace with everything that I do. And if that doesn't exist within me, maybe there's this time to do some changes and try different things. And again, there can be a lot of different approaches to that. There's not just one modality that will serve everybody, but there are very powerful techniques that can be definitely useful for people who want a quick results. And quick, I'm not saying like, okay, I'm coming once and I'll be healed, right? But quick meaning maybe you can do some progress within, I would say, 2, 3 months. And I'm not saying like maybe not as deep work, but let's say EMDR can work. CBT is something that's very useful as well for a variety of problems. Logotherapy, I go for spirituality a lot. And I know that a lot of people in business, they can feel that they're disconnected from their spirituality. And spirituality is not, or doesn't have to be a part of the religion altogether. And I have people sometimes, some of my clients can be in their late 50s or 60s even, right? Some people have obviously different ages, but those people can not think they're spiritual just because, like, you know what, I don't never liked Christianity, or I never liked, some other practices, right? Other religions. And they are spiritual by heart because they do so much good for other people. So I feel like number one, we have to realize what spirituality is, and that can be a very powerful tool, because ultimately and technically and actually practically too, we have all the answers, but we're not turning inward, we're turning outward, because or to the external stuff, because again, for business owners, I have to operate in this madness in this world that's full of so many different, people, problems and situations with the business that I have to kind of deal with. So of course it may kind of put that stop on going within. I'm saying I have to focus on this because I have to prevent this from happening, I have to take care of that. We're not going in. And I feel like even the self-awareness we spoke about, it begins with us going inward, say, okay, you know what, I want to really care for this right now, because this is what's connecting my business, my life, my family, all of those kind of aspects. So we have to think about ourselves as of something that needs to be a priority for us.
Hmm. I like what you said there. You said that everybody has the answer. It's just within. I think that's really powerful. I think a lot of people are out there looking for answers, looking for that external answer, but really they just
Mm-hmm.
need to look inwards and just be able to find it within themselves. And that's pretty much what therapy is for. Like therapy is
Right.
not gonna it just ask these questions that help you find the answer for yourself that was already there. You just need a little help with those questions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a very powerful metaphor. There is this teacher, a great teacher of mine. I love him. And he passed away already. He passed on. He was Dr. Wayne Dyer, and he's brilliant. He went from psychology to spirituality, and he wrote a lot of books. It's a great resource for anybody who wants to learn about spirituality and mental health together. Those books have a lot of wisdom on that. But he's talking about when we are growing in our mother's wombs, right, for 9 months. Nobody interferes with this process. Our moms are not sitting there, okay, today I'm creating a liver, or the doctors are there, okay, let me tweak some of the fingers that are being formed right now. For 9 months, we're trusting the intelligence of the universe, the intelligence of life, the same intelligence that grows those trees and opens up flowers and helps, the hurricanes come and go, the storms, right, creates this weather, this beautiful, perfect force of nature creates everything that we need, right? You, me, anybody else will have the heart in the same, or, in one spot, right? It's not somewhere in the knee or in our head or somewhere else. That intelligence knows exactly where to put those organs, how to create us for 9 months without any interference. And so we come out of there and we say, okay, great job here. Now I know better. But that I know better, it's been heavily influenced by our families, by the news, by media, by society, culture, by all those things. And we forget that intelligence is within ourselves, it's beating our hearts. Again, if you don't believe in God, that's fine. But think about something that's beating your heart right now, or why we're not thinking about the next breath we have to take. Everything works, right? We have that intelligence. Our bodies have intelligence to heal ourselves. If we get a cut, if we get a scratch, if we get an injury, in time, our bodies are intelligent enough to make that process to bring us to this ultimate healing. And I feel like if we begin to turn inwards to experience that energy, because it's a powerful experience when we disconnect from the mind, and that's what meditation, prayer can allow as well, right? All of those practices that help us tune into ourselves. That's where we can hear who we are, because it's not something that can be verbalized. When we use language, it's a very limiting kind of process, right? But the experience of the essence of that energy, of whatever everything is made of, that's where the answers are. And the moment we're in tune with that, it's not like we suddenly begin to, well, ultimately we begin to realize things, but then it just connects us to that wisdom that we all have inside. And it's a beautiful experience. And I know some people who really transform their lives with doing practices for themselves, but it requires effort, time, dedication, consistency, all of that. That's why it's not easy. So, but yeah, the process can be liberating and empowering and inspiring only if we will take time to listen to what we have inside.
Amen to that. And what are some common misconceptions about trauma and healing that business owners should be aware of?
Well, again, that may be the excuses that we give to ourselves. Well, number one, that it may take a long time. Maybe it will take, years to heal that. Maybe it's going to be difficult. Maybe, again, it's going to be uncomfortable. Yeah, everything uncomfortable, whatever we're not used to. But I feel like giving it a try. And again, I feel like the experience would make it so, because if I'm just trying to contemplate how that would look like as a result, I may actually lose time with that as well, just thinking about it. But giving it a shot, let me go and try that. Maybe trying even experiences in general, that maybe a group setting, right? Trying something new, because there are a lot of things that can connect us to becoming more aware. And again, trying any type of things that can be useful for trauma in general, just giving it a shot, see how you feel. Try a breath work. There are a lot of, you can go for 2 hours and have a workshop where you can experience the power of your breath, and that can give you a psychedelic trip in itself. It's a very powerful experience. Energy work, sound healing, things like that. Even if we're starting with that, we can become more aware. And I feel like misconceptions in regarding trauma would be any type of excuse we're giving to ourselves. That would already be a misconception. Because again, trauma, Maybe one misconception that I can really think about is, again, feeling like, you know what, I'm not going to dig it up. It's okay. I already kind of surpassed it. I've processed it. If you're questioning that, if you're questioning whether or not you're already kind of healed from that, then you're probably not. Because if you're healed, you'll feel great. You won't have any question. So if anybody's questioning, should I really take care of that? Should I go and talk about it too? Maybe there is something in it. Maybe we really should.
For sure. And how has spirituality played a role in your entrepreneurial journey?
Spiritual. Oh my God. Spirituality is everything to me. It's everything. I can't even describe of the gratitude sometimes of what I experience. Spirituality for me and becoming or getting to where I am, I feel like it gave me a lot of trust in the process. So knowing that no matter what I can encounter, and again, feeling and knowing where you want to be and looking for that and looking for directions, taking steps, right? It's our responsibility. But then having that trust in the process and allowing us to be guided and not questioning, why me? Why this is happening right now? If this is happening, then it's going to lead me somewhere. And if we look back into our life, the best growth or the most profound growth we experience through the worst times. If there were moments where we struggle, where we experience pain, and now we're here, I will look back and say, wow, like I really made it through. And there was something else with me going through that because I don't know how I made it, but now I'm here and I'm so grateful that I had that experience that I was able to face. And to me, that's the trust and the faith in the process and knowing that if it's there, it's been placed here by a loving source, not by evil that wants to, tear me apart. It's something there to help me grow and getting me better, even though I may not understand why yet. And then giving it some time and just going, just one step at a time and trusting the process. I would say this was a very powerful way for me to overcome a lot of things that I had to while I was getting education, while I had 3 jobs, while I had to study crazy amount of hours, for that, and also serving a lot. I've worked as a volunteer counselor for people in crises where they used to text in and I could reply to them and guide them through the process, and that was beautiful too. So I feel like that service ability to give to people, even if you're not there where you want to be yet, I feel like allowing yourself to kind of tune into that and provide service just like we receive service from the higher force, from our higher power as well. So I feel like that was the major thing for me.
hmm And what are some practical steps that people could take to integrate healing practices to their daily routine?
Oh, I love this. So definitely taking time to get to know yourself, taking time to meditate, taking time to disconnect from all of the distractions we encounter. So healing, again, does take time. But if we dedicate every single day trying to distract ourselves, do you know the placebo effect, right? We all talk about it. Placebo effect, and people, when they talk about it, they say, well, it's just that. It's just a placebo. Like, that's how you see the miraculous ability of ourselves to create change without the use of any medication, without a use of any other external force. You're saying that's, oh, just a placebo. That proves to you that your mind, your ability to believe in something can give you tremendous healing. So to me, that's mind blowing. But if I take every day, every single day to tune into that and to strengthen that belief, that faith, that trust, maybe it's a meditation. I would say at least 5-10 minutes to start, but it has to be every single day. Put your phone away, right? If you're And I've had this a beautiful kind of thing when I started doing my practice every single day, and I do it before I'm going to bed. I have a little altar where I sit and I do my prayers and I send my gratitude and I practice all that. And one day I remember, and I do it every single night. And one day I was so tired and I went and I brushed my teeth. I went to bed. I'm like, you know what? They're going to forgive me. I'll do it tomorrow. And I had this little voice in my head. Did you have a chance to brush your teeth? Did you have enough strength for that? I'm like, I got it. Okay, let me go and sit on my knees right now. Because again, if we're able to take care of this, what we can see, we have to be able to take care of this, which we can see. And that's more powerful than anything else. So dedicating time, maybe again, maybe meditation, maybe prayer if you would like, but gratitude journal can create magic. If you take 5 minutes, set yourself a timer every single day before going to bed, but make it the last thing that you do, right? Set yourself a timer and then sit and write out everything you're grateful for. And not just my family, income, my job, not just that. Your thumbs. How great it is to have two thumbs. This is beautiful. And the fact that all our organs are intact. How often are we grateful to our pancreas, to our kidneys, to our liver? But as we know, right, if we do good, if we say good things to ourselves, if we take the time to send that gratitude, everything is working better and healthier. So if we do sit and write out everything we're grateful for, number one, what we focus on expands. So we're going to have more of that which we're grateful for appear into our lives. And we're able to expand that even more. And that gratitude, if we're grateful, we cannot be scared. If we're grateful, we cannot be anxious. If we're grateful, we will consider ourselves fortunate, lucky, blessed, all of the above. And that's the connection to our source, because human mind is always unsettled. It wants to get more. It wants to be better than everybody else, usually, right? The ego speaking. So if we disconnect from that and we tune into what we already have and really focusing and experiencing that, it's one of the most beautiful feelings I feel like we can experience altogether.
Alisa, this has been a great episode. Learned a whole lot. Before we close out, what is one thing that you want people to take away from this episode?
Trust yourself. If there is anything in you is giving you that little call, right? That little voice is telling you, maybe you should look into this. If something is pulling you forward to look into a practice you want to try, right? Or maybe giving you a thought, you know what? Maybe I have something that I want to heal within myself. Go for it. Listen to that. It may not be as powerful or as strong or as loud, but if you listen to that, if you follow that little calling, number one, you will be more in tune with yourself. And number two, it's probably going to lead you to something that will help you.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that. And I think that's a great note to end on. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Where can the people find you at?
My Instagram, Alisa_art, and I'm everywhere on Google too. Actually, if you put me in, you probably can have my profile on psychology.com as well. So if anybody is looking for a therapist, that can be a way to find me as well. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. We'll put all that in the show notes. Thank you so much again for coming on to the show. Another banger today, y'all. Till next time, peace.